Yo, what up, guys? Travels here. Did a little bit of a tier list or breakdown for war. Seems people asking what team should go on offense, what team should go on defense. Just wanted to lay out kind of what my war strategy is. Again, this will be coming from a returning player. I think I played for about 3 years, left for three and a half years, and just came back. I want to say I have now been back in the game close to 7 months at this point. So my roster might be a little bit different than some of yours. I would say I am in end game or high end game. My alliance is not exactly a war alliance or even like a top 100 alliance, but I'd say this is like a moderate view of what your war setup could look like. Um, and I broke it into three kind of categories here. So there's a war offense, then you have your war defense, and then there's a lot of can go either ways, but some of them I think fall more to the attack side and more to the defensive side than others. This isn't perfect by any means. And again, a lot of this will be a variation based on what your actual roster looks like. But let's start off with um, let's go with the war defense to start with. Um, Obviously, we don't have retcon yet, but when retcon comes in, um, I think they're going to be obviously the best defensive, more defensive team that there is. So that would obviously be the number one priority here. Um, Actually, let me jump back for a second, real quick, um, and just work through the logistics of war. Right, when you're in war, ultimately you have 8 defensive slots, and as an attacking person, you only need to make 8 clean attacks. Everyone in your alliance is going to vary on that, depending on the type of alliance they're in. Some alliances, they've got a couple people that are really heavy. They'll do 10 to 14 attacks per war. And then you get some people that, barely make 4 or 5 or 0 attacks in war, depending on your alliance. Um, but ultimately, if everyone in your alliance is active for a war, you only need 8 clean attacks, right? So the way I've kind of designed my alliance or my war within my own alliance is I want to make sure that I have 10 clean attacks and then maybe 2 additional attacks that I could make. I always try to score 10,000 to 13,000 plus points in a war. I just find war is a fun part of the game for me. And a lot of these teams you can use in Crucible and other areas of the game as well. So there's a lot of good plug and play and mix and match. With that, as I'm going up to 110 here, I am emphasizing some of these specific teams that are war teams that I'm going to do first. So, anyways, back to the defense. When Retcon comes out, that'll be the number one. For anyone who has Blue Marble, uh, he's a defensive character. He stops the speed stat. His ultimate can destroy an entire attacking team on the first attack. It ends up hitting everyone. It's a great defensive character. I'll show you a little bit where I have him and maybe some other options you could use him in. But Infestation is a great war team. I know it's more of a luxury team. It's a nice to have. So if you don't have it, you don't have it. Not everyone's going to build it, right? It just depends on where you're at with your roster, what you want to do. Any type of Insidious Six, Sinister Six type combination. This can vary. Some people will use Doc Ock or not use Doc Ock or Green Goblin Classic, depending on the speed. Some people have built the raid team already, so take these two out and just use the regular raid. You can mix and match these. You can go for speed or non-speed. That's going to vary how good the actual team is from a defensive standpoint. It can be a really good attacking team. As one of the first teams on my return that I built, and I used it offensively for a while. So I do think it's a great war attack as well. But currently, I think the best position for me for this team is to put it on defense. New Mutants, you may or may not build this team. So this might not be a great team for you. Any new team coming to the game, I always think is a nice war defense because not everyone's familiar with how the team works. So your immortal weapons, your New Mutants, teams that people don't get a lot of use with or don't know the kits very well for, are always a good war defense, especially in the beginning, because, like I said, a lot of people may misjudge or not know how to play the fight. So it kind of works in your favor. Currently, I'm running the New Mutants without magic, and I substitute Nightcrawler in. I like the evades and the speed. Certainly helps the team. I've done a variation of with this with Professor X as well. You could really mix and match this team and have fun with it. This could be a team that you completely don't have built and you don't intend to build, and it's a full skip for you. So it's not someone that you're going to use at all. Um, Returning to the game, the Annihilators was kind of a big team-ish. It was leaving the arena. I think a lot of people used it for the Professor X saga. So I think a lot of people have these characters. You've now got options of 4 to 5 diamonds on Thanos and Gladiator, which is super helpful. I've done a full Annihilators team. I've also done the variation. Currently, I am running a variation just because I've got some diamonds that I got a little bit lucky with. But you run it with Null, and I have the other symbiote down here as well. Forget his name, but pretty good defense overall. As a returning player, I actually don't have Omega Red Phoenix Force. I see a lot of these defenses with Phoenix and Phoenix Force, and they throw them with Alpha Flight or some other mixture of characters in there. I think it's a pretty good defense. It takes a little bit more skill to play the fight, which is nice, and I do like that variation. Immortal Weapons. To me, this is a strong. When I was playing the game years and years and years ago, um, Iron Fist was a great defensive character, and to me, this still is a great defensive setup. Again, this is one of those ones that you could definitely throw on offense. So if you haven't built them fully, or you don't have them where you want them, it's a pretty easy team to take offensively, and it could do a lot of damage. Currently, what I'm running is I have actually these 4 piece here, and I took Swordmaster out, and I put him with my Mighty Avengers, and I threw Odin in here. It's a pretty hard team. You got to get through Iron Fist. He's going to have the damage reduction. He's going to do the heals. Lady Bullseye's pretty fast. They've got some other things going on. And then if Odin can get his special off, he's going to keep swiping with a team that has constant heals. So it can definitely be a pretty high end defense and hard to beat. You could see mine is about 12 million. And I got lucky with some diamonds on that as well. So definitely a very powerful team. Astral, I think the remainder of the rest of these teams are going to be probably raid teams or teams that you've had to build in the past that maybe have leveled up. Um, they may not be the best war defense teams if you're looking to build the best war D, but they do have some mix and match options where you could move some different characters around, and there's flexibility. Also, depending on what room you're in, if you're in a flight deck and you're not going really high defensively and you're trying to focus more of an emphasis on the attacking side, you'd probably start to throw more of these lower end war defenses in just to kind of hold spots. So for me, Astral is kind of one of those teams. It still does pretty well and can definitely catch a lot of people off guard. It can get some wins every now and then. It's Shadow King is still really good. You've still got some good characters in here like Emma. So it's a pretty mid tier war defense, but I think it fits well in that spot, and that's a good location for it. Find a lot of people with Thunderbolts on Wardy. Uh, Personally, I think a lot of these new raid teams, such as Accursed, Thunderbolts, Hellfire, I think they are absolute garbage on Wardy. A lot of the times these are fillers. I have them personally in as a filler. You see, I have them down here. They're at 9 million. It's basically holding a spot for me at this point. Um, Not a great War D team. I think if you were to get more higher end of the game, higher end War, people would probably plug and play some of these other players like Taskmaster and Songbird, who have some really good utility within other compositions. My roster is not there, and I can't do that, so I'm just leaving it like this. You'll see a lot of these other teams. Again, some people use kind of the 3 piece from Night Stalkers and use it as an attacking team. Blade and Oath, that's fine. I do tend to use them here and there for like a 13th or 14th attack for me, to go ahead and attack maybe a lower end team that I see. You get Orcus, Spider Curse. A Curse is absolutely terrible. I put Starjammers over them. I actually just recently put my Starjammers back in because I wanted to beef up my attacks a bit more. You've got Alpha Flight. You see this quite a bit. You'll see over here, and my can go either way. I actually have Illuminati over here. I actually move them to offense very specifically just for Alpha Flights. It's a great counter. I don't think a lot of people know that, but it's a really easy counter to throw at them. It works great. Um, Going back, let's go over to the war offense quickly. And again, I'll go through my actual attacking teams, but I think these teams are the absolute should be's on offense. Fantastic Four. This team, I see it all the time. I see it on defense, and I see it with like Professor X. So they'll do a three-piece or four-piece with Professor X. To me, Hellfire is not very good, and I think Emma should always be on attack for you because this is a turn-based game, and she reduces a speed stat. There's so many people that'll throw the three-piece of Fantastic Four with Professor X, and it is so easily beaten with this four-piece and Emma. So to me, this is my number one attacking team, and that's because I don't have Brimstone on offense. I may actually switch them here when the full Winter Guard comes out, so we'll see. Um, I think everyone should have Undying as an attacking team. I know this might seem simple, but there's so many people that I actually see putting them on war defense, which is crazy to me. You lose so much of their utility, and you use a ton of their actual passive abilities and what they can do by not having them on offense. Zombie Kestrel, huge piece. I'll go through and actually show you my attacking roster, but I have a level one uh, zombie jugs, and I often don't even use them. And I think I did level 75 for these two. So basically, I've only done Hella and Zombie Kestrel up to 105. I think I just brought Zombie Kestrel and Hella up to 106. But just that two piece alone can attack like a 10 to 12 million Thunderbolts, and they can walk through it. I put down another video about a 9 million punch up on that. So crazy not to have them on offense and not having them attacking. They are an easy win team for you. Secret Warriors. This is a great team. You really only need Phantom built. I built Phantom and Yo-Yo. Uh, you'll see when I show you my actual attack team and roster, but Phantom is an easy guy. You just build him up. This team counters, again, a ton of different teams. You can hit Hellfire, any of those occurs, any of those raid teams I'm trying to mention, they can counter um, any type of the Insidious Six teams. You could beat these Annihilators team. You could beat these New Moon teams. Like they really can beat a lot of teams. Vigilante. Again, this is another one of those ones where I see people throw Vigilante on defense. You lose a good amount of the speed stat and different buffs that they get from being on offense. There's absolutely no reason not to put them on offense. You should definitely have them as an attacking team. They just function better as an attacking team. Blastar and some type of like Thunderstrike Quasar mix. I often use Super Scroll, and I actually often use Kahori in this team right here, just because you get two characters that go really fast before Blastar quickly. You do a couple basics. By the time I get to Blaster, I have 4 to 5 bomb bursts, and this team actually can kill a ton of teams on defense and is super versatile. I don't think a lot of people use this, but really is a great attacking team. Mighty Avengers, a little bit older of a team. Throw Swordmaster in there. You can use Vision or Scarlet Witch. It's up to you. I think I often use Vision and not Scarlet Witch, but either one works. You've likely already have Hercules and Falcon build because they're raid team members that you need to build for Uncanny. So you probably have some decent levels on these teams, and they can throw some pretty good punch ups at a lot of like these random raid teams or a lot of these random low tier defenses that you'll see. With some exceptions, there's definitely some teams you don't want to attack with them. Now, jumping back over to the can go either way section. Um, so in the last war, I actually had Red Guardian and Omega Red on defense. I've actually pulled them for this war because we'll have Darkstar coming out today. And with the four piece, you'll actually be able to activate a ton of their abilities. Omega Red's passive being one of them where he attacks in the beginning, which would be great. Um, so I think when this full team comes out, when Ursa comes out, I actually am going to end up pulling my Brimstone off from defense and putting this on defense. Um, I think Brimstone's a great attack. I think they're a great war team in general, but this I think will move to a defensive team. And a lot of these other teams that you see, they can go kind of both ways. You just gotta again mix and match. You want to find eight sure thing win attack teams minimum, and then you can kind of build your defense and plug and play around that after. So moving on to Brimstone, again, they stop speed stat, great attacking team. Um, if you're using these guys on offense, you can run it with a full five. You can see defensively, I run them with Blue Marvel. This stops any of that Emma. You'll see a lot of people running them with Apocalypse. Again, same thing, stopping Emma from reducing their speed. so that they get attacked second. The APOC can be easily countered just with a quick sacrifice team with a Phoenix. When I run them with Blue Marble, I often get 3+ defense, sometimes like 8 defense. It really can be a hard team to beat. Great team. Again, I think I'm going to end up moving them back the offense once I get this full Winter Guard team. I just recently put Old Man Logan on defense. I think that's probably going to just be holding a spot. This actually, Old Man Logan, especially with the diamonds now, is a great attacking character. The whole Merch for Money team is really good. I didn't build Panda. You don't even need to use Death Pool. You can kind of use these two. You're going to lose that pool. But still, I think Old Man Logan still has a ton of flexibility. You can use him a lot of different things. He's really good at countering a lot of these different teams. He can counter Infestation. He can counter Insidious. He can counter New Mutants. He could even counter the Annihilators. I'm going to guess that he could probably beat Immortal Weapons too. And he definitely could go off against Astral. So his versatility allows him to attack in some different places. He definitely should lean more towards the attacking. I do find that I often get like a couple defends with throwing him on defense. He gets stuck behind the Panda pool and have a little bit of a hard time. I also have him paired with APOC, as you can see, and I've got the 4 diamonds and uh, APOC on my Logan attacking with 5. So it's a little bit harder of a team to get through. But again, that can be switched wherever you want to. Um, Getting into like these mythic slash legendary characters, I guess they're all mythics, but Professor X is really up to you. I've done times, I've gone a couple months where I leave him on defense. There's definitely some times where I switch him to offense. Currently, I'm running him on offense. He's an easy counter to a lot of different teams. Kind of guarantees you that win. Odin, on the other hand, I actually have on defense. Um, I found that I've got the attacking teams I need right now to get the points I want and make the attacks I want. So he's a good person to plug and play. Like I said, I actually threw him in with my immortal weapons, and it's a fun little defensive team. Mephisto for me right now is an attacking team. You can kind of just build a team around him. I'll show you my team that I have with him, but I've taken a couple pieces left over from Hellfire. So I have Sebastian. I use Kestrel. I use Elsa, and I used to use Taskmaster. I have someone else in there now, but you can kind of just throw a bunch of random pieces around Mephisto, and you can find that you can definitely beat a ton of different teams in war with him. So to me, he's a good plug and play character. I know a lot of people like to throw him with Night Stalkers on defense, which again is a pretty hard D to beat. So if you have all the attacking teams you need, absolutely move him over to the defensive side. Sentry's new for me. He's going to be an offensive character for me, at least for the foreseeable future. He's a 5 red, 5 yellow, so he's not crazy built. I do have him at P level 5, and I've got him maxed out at gear 20. But I think attack wise, I can just build kind of a random team around him, and I think I'm going to have more than enough punch with him to be able to go and make a kill. I actually think I'm likely going to throw him with a Night Stalkers or something like that to go ahead and attack with him and maybe get like a 13th win. The X-Men team, I actually use Cable here. Polaris, I actually often throw in with my Undying team. I'll show you when I show you my actual attacking teams. There's times I put this on defense. There's times I use it on offense. This is not a great attacking team. It's not a great defensive team. It's definitely better if you play it, I think, as an attacking team because you can choose who you attack Storm with. You've got to be careful when you're looking at the speed and who you attack to make sure that you don't get stuck behind someone you can actually stun who you need to. I often try and target, like one of these raid teams, like an Orcus, even a Spider-Verse type team, even a Starjammers, someone that I could get a quick stun on and let Rachel go ahead and make some kills and spread some stun. Totally up to you and how you want to play that. Again, Night Stalkers, this can go either way. A lot of people like using the 3-piece. A lot of people sub Mephisto in for this on defense. I think if you have this team built and they're pretty high, I think this could definitely rank higher as a defensive team with Mephisto. But not a bad attacking team if you want to run them with Mephisto as well. So again, this really just goes to your roster and where that kind of will work out for you. Absolute A-Force, I think, is losing steam. Like I said, Kahori for me now plugs in over here, is my 5th piece over here. And then I don't even use the rest of these members. Some people have this team built pretty large. So this team is, sitting on defense for them where they run the full team on offense. Not a bad team. Again, for me, this team, think Azazel is tends to run with my Mephisto if he even makes it into an attack. Sebastian again with Mephisto. Rachel is going with the X-Men. And again, Emma for me is going on offense always. There's no reason unless you're going to put her on defense with like a Professor X team or an F4 team to try and keep people from getting the speed set on you. I think she's a huge waste putting her for this team. I think if you have her, you're really using her primarily for the speed stat. She doesn't have to be super high level. She's just a good plug-in for a team so that your team goes first. So this is kind of what I'm running. I'm gonna hop over into my actual teams. Let's go take a look at my actual attacking teams, and I'll show you kind of who I'm using and who I try to target. Again, I just wanted to pop into my actual roster real quick and just take a look at kind of how I have this structure with my teams and how they're set up. So basically, I set this up, which is my war attack teams and kind of top down, I could say like best to worst, if you will. This is my priority attack team. This is my best attack team. Again, I'm targeting F4 teams or F4 Professor X mixes, essentially teams that don't have anyone who's stopping or slowing the speed stat. So you often will see F4 Professor X or the three piece of Professor X and Odin. Love seeing those because this team easily wipes them. Secondary, Undying, and like I said, so Hela and Zombie Catcher are linked to actually really built on this team. This four piece, any of those big raid teams, the things you really want to stay away from is a really strong pre-taunt tank, especially if they have immunity. That could really hurt you in this. But beyond that, anyone who perma kills any type of Greg or anything like that, that'll kill your slowing ability. I often will target a really big Thunderbolts. There's a ton of teams that don't die can beat, and even with just the two piece, like I said, you can punch up close to 7 million. Great attacking team. I have Sentry listed with the four piece in here for now. I think I'll probably run this exact attack here with Darkstar against a very large team in this war coming up later this evening. Um, that's my goal. That's not 100% right now. I think this will probably be a really dominating attack team, and I'm probably going to target a really large team. So I could possibly post a live video about that tomorrow. Keep me posted or leave a comment if you want to see. Vigilantes is here, even though the Secret Warriors team can often do a lot more. This can beat a lot of your really big those raid like Orcus, Astral type teams, and the Annihilator type teams. Really good attack team, not necessarily in this order. This team right here is also very, very good. Again, like I said, doesn't have to be completely built. If you have Phantom, you can see I'm prioritizing him. He's at 107 to go up before anyone else. I'm going to leave the rest of the team where they are. Some type of Professor X combo. I just put Starjammers on, but I normally I used to use like Havoc, Phoenix. I'll just take Professor X Phoenix and throw a couple pieces in there for this attack. And it's a pretty big punch up. Typically, we'll target like a Mephisto team or an Odin team to go after them. This team here, so again, like I was saying, the Blastar, Thunderstrike, Quasar with Kahori and Super Skrull. Kahori's going to go first. She's going to get a couple basics off. He's going to get two bomb bursts. Super Skrull, I'm always going to go basic first, get another bomb burst. He's going to get another turn often. And then I'm going to use this special for a turn meter rewind. And then it is likely that Thunderstrike or Quasar will even go, or Blaster will go, and then one of these two will go, and you'll have five bomb bursts. And this team on paper doesn't seem crazy for like a war attack team, but it really does very well. I actually use these two here, maybe even these three. I'd have to take a look at it again with Old Man Logan in Battle World, and it wasn't this, but it was a very large 170,000 attack. So super interesting. This is what I'm using. Oh, Black Cat was the last one I was missing, but it's Mephisto team, so Shaw, Freeton Tank, Terminator Rewind, Kestrel does a ton of pings. The Elsa's built for Brim somewhere already. Really good attacking team. I target tons of random teams with this, but it's good to take out some just random stuff you don't like. Mighty Avengers, like I said, this is a great attacking team. I did my Immortal Weapons to 106. I'm gonna stop doing them. I've got 20. I had 29 characters I was targeting, which I think I've dropped down to 15 characters that I'm targeting for 110. It'll stay at that. This, like I said, some Spider Verse, work-based different teams. This is an Alpha Flight Killer. Uh, this I might actually use with Sentry once I get the full Winter Guard team, and then these are just some additional teams. I don't even use Alpha Flight anymore, but if you find just some low-end stuff in the flight decks and you need a last attack, it's a good, easy last attack. Just quickly, I'll pop in and show you who I'm doing for 107. So you got 5, 10, 15. Those 15 characters as of right now, and I'll add in Dark Star and Ursa. So 17 total characters I'm targeting for 110. All right, that was awesome. If you have any questions, comments, leave them in the comments section. If you want a copy of the image that I built that I showed first, I will go ahead and post that as well in the comments section, or I'll just throw it in my Discord if you want it. All right, peace out. Thanks.